Welcome to the Focus Garage. In today's episode, we're going to be covering a kind of controversial topic here of laser detectors, radar detectors, and then signal jammers and everything like that. This is something we've got some questions about on Instagram as well as our Facebook page, asking the legality and how they work, what's recommended, what's not. So we're going to kind of give you a very, very high level overview here. This isn't sponsored by any kind of brands or anything, so anything that we do say,
pure opinion.
It's pure opinion. Don't take any sponsorship into it or anything. And also, always consult with the local laws in regards to this stuff, because there's federal law when it comes to laser and radar detection, and then there's state law. So make sure that you are in compliance with whatever it is that you're going with. You want to start it off here?
Yeah, let's start off with
why would you want one?
Why would you want one? I have one. I've been running radar detector for the past 5-6 years now, and it's not that I speed a lot, but even if you're going 1 mile an hour faster than the speed limit, it's speeding, and you can't really, if your speedo is wrong and all that stuff, that's more detail, but that's something like a kind of protection, that
Peace of mind,
knowing your surrounding. That's what it is.
So, can I share my 2 cents here?
Sure.
I'm going to do it anyways.
Do it.
Whether you like it or not.
Send it.
So the way I like to describe it, and this is very, very similar to a video I was watching from Ammo NYC by Larry over there. Having a radar detector doesn't give you the right to drive like a bat out of hell and street race people. But use this example. So say, you're driving somewhere and the speed limit drops from, 45 to 35. And you're still doing, maybe you're doing 47, 48 because you're doing a couple over. Now you're doing, well over 10 over. So it's kind of to protect you and give you that heads up if you're kind of, daydreaming a little bit or just not aware of the area, and maybe it's a spot you don't drive regularly. And they have those speed traps, where the speed drops 10, 15 miles an hour. And if you're not paying attention, you're not being aggressive, you're not being, completely dumb with your driving. You just need to have that safety blanket. So having like a radar detector will alert you and kind of give you that chance to not be stuck with a, depending on where you live, a ticket, points on your license, anything like that. So, don't think that having a radar detector gives you the right to do 100 over. It definitely does not. It's not meant for street racing. It's meant to kind of protect you and give you a fair chance.
And there's a lot of expressways around Chicagoland area where people usually go 80 miles, 90 miles an hour. That's
the flow of traffic.
That's the flow of traffic. You would know if you are out there driving around the Chicagoland area. You would see that, and it's kind of scary if people that are not familiar with it. But if you get pinpointed in that area, you will get a ticket. The police would not care.
They don't care what traffic was doing. You're still speeding.
Yeah, you would be the unlucky person. So in that situation, going slow is also very dangerous. They have low speed limits of 45 miles an hour. Yeah. And if traffic is doing 90 and people are going around you because you're doing 55, 60 miles an hour,
you're a hazard now.
You would become a hazard. Even like the tractor trailers, they're going pretty fast too. Those guys are flying in there. So when you're in that flow of traffic, when your radar detector reminds you that, hey, there's a cop out there doing scanning with his radar or her radar, so you will slow down to what the speed limit is and put yourself into some kind of minimum danger in that area. And when it's gone, you will continue with the speed of the traffic flow.
Again, peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
So let's kind of cover the ways that the police or other law enforcement varieties here will monitor speed. There's 2 main ways. There's laser, and then there's radar that they use.
They actually use. If we go in depth, they can use pacing, and they have also they use planes to keep your speed as well.
Yeah, but the generic detectors you're going to have in your cars, it's going to be more for laser and for radar. So just a quick little tidbit on how each of them work. Radar literally works as almost like sonar. It sends out, radio waves that bounce off. So if you're coming at them or you pass them, the radar detector will send out the waves, hits the car, bounces back to the radar gun. That gives them the speed. Laser works actually on a reflection. So usually what they'll do is they'll shine it off like headlights, taillights, or license plates, basically a laser beam, and that shoots back to the gun to give them the speed. So that's a little more pinpointed, a little more specific to your car. Whereas radar, it's very common to get a false reading if there's a car next to you, behind you, in front of you. So that's kind of the differences there. So laser is more new school, I guess you could say. Most bigger police departments, more city-like areas will have laser, but a lot of kind of rural country areas still may be using standard radar detection.
Yeah, and there are a couple more. there are tons of radar bands, radio bands
Yeah.
they use. So radar is sound, laser is
Light.
light.
So what's interesting about this actually is, anytime you're emitting some kind of signal or source like that, it's got to be regulated by some sort of government agency. And those two types of, laser versus radar, they're regulated by different agencies. I believe radar is going to be the FTC, not FTC.
FCA.
They're two different agencies. That's the main thing. So whatever the radio one is
Yeah.
what monitors that. And interesting enough, since laser is light, I almost want to say it's the FDA.
I think it's FDA.
Food and Drug Administration. So they're monitored differently. So the laws that apply are totally different between the two of how they have to be constantly calibrated and what standard they're up to and everything like that. So because of this, you can have countermeasures on your car. Because it is illegal to jam radio waves, you cannot legally have a radar jammer
That's
on
a
your
federal
car.
law.
It's a federal offense. They do it for government reasons, like if you have aircrafts and different just government communications.
Like just like cell phone jammers. That's,
Yeah.
that's 100% illegal. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's illegal. If anybody's doing that, it's illegal all states.
Yeah, out the door. It's
Yeah.
federally illegal. So not having a radar detection is
It's totally
completely
different.
Having a radar detector is not illegal in federal government, but it is illegal
In certain
states.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 states that are illegal, and I cannot remember which one they are. Could be one of them is like Pennsylvania, I want to say.
I think they're both on the East Coast. I want to say like Pennsylvania, Virginia, somewhere like that. They're very, very strict on speeding and
Yeah. So even if
detection.
you have a different plate, does not give you the opportunity to use your radar detector if you're passing by. So please obey the laws of the state and turn off your radar.
You can and
detection.
will be ticketed in
Yeah.
the state if you're using a detector where it's not legal. So definitely be aware of that.
And any other state, you're allowed to use your radar detectors as much as you want. And laser jammers, your radar detector could detect lasers, but it's always too late. When you detect laser,
They've already got you.
Yeah, they already got your information. It could be sometime bouncing back from a different car, if
So
the
maybe you get that heads
yeah,
up.
Maybe you get that heads up, but usually 90% of the time it's you and you're too late for it.
So because of that, there actually is a legal way around this. They're called laser scramblers, and it's similar to like a radar jammer, but it's a little different. What a laser scrambler does is it has little infrared sensors in the front and the back of your car that'll actually take the laser and send it back without giving a reading on what you're doing. These systems are usually well integrated into your car. They're mounted like inside of your bumper and behind grills, stuff like that, to where it prevents the police officer from getting a reading on you. Now, the legality of this will again depend on your state. I think there's probably like 15 or 18 states where these are illegal. So do check with your local municipalities if you can run something like this or not. But depending on how into it you want to go on speed prevention, you can get a laser scrambler for your car, which will prevent any kind of laser reader speed reader, lidar, that's what it is, from reading your speed. So you've got different options here, and back like what Anna was saying, with radar detectors, you will have a lot of radar detectors that'll detect radar and laser. So you have dual band and different things like that. So there's many different detectors out there. Now that we live in an age of technology, you have different detectors that'll have GPS built into them.
Yeah.
They'll have user feedback. So like if you see
Like a Waze.
Yep,
kinda.
exactly.
Community.
It's like Waze, but specific to speeding, police traps, speed cameras, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So you've got a lot of options out there to implementing some sort of
Yeah.
protection on yourself.
And let's talk about. Well, it's not legal to have a laser scrambler in Illinois, so I do not have anything, and just because of that, I don't have any brand information on that. But I do have a radar detector in my car, and I've been running it for.
You want
like
to share what
5
brand
years.
you use and what you think
It's
about
a,
it?
Yeah, I can do that. It's a Magnum STI. It's a Beltronic, and it's same as the Escort Redline. It's exactly the same thing. It's just the packaging is different, but you still have the same horns for the detecting the radar and the.
And yours is laser and radar detector.
Yeah,
right?
laser and radar, but I usually don't. The laser does not make any difference.
It's too late.
It doesn't help. Yeah, but it's a really good radar detector. It was a really good radar detector, like 2 years ago or so. Where there's a company called Uniden that came out, but they have like I think they call U3s or R3s or something like that. They're like gives you half a mile or so more range on detection, and they are awesome compared to Redline. Is basically what I have is Redline. It's been out for like 20 years or so. It's been used for a really long time, and they are still like $400 or $500 if you are looking to get one. You can't get it brand new, but usually refurbished or used, they run around that. And then Uniden is like either like almost same or half the price, but it still gives you more range and newer technology. So there are other radar detectors out there, less price that you can get, but it is always you pay what you get.
Yeah,
You get what you pay for. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see one of these, like Walmart specials and it's $30, chances are you might as well burn that $30 because anything it detects, it's going to be way too late, and it's probably going to miss 90% of what's being used out there anyways. My general consensus with detectors is if you do a lot of driving or even a moderate amount of driving, it's worth to have one. I'm like I said, this isn't giving you permission to speed everywhere.
Even if you space out, you're paying attention to traffic and all that stuff.
It makes you more vigilant.
Yeah. You don't want to get hit, and then you don't look at your speed, and there are times that you're like, oh wow, I'm going like way over the speed limit, I should slow down. And this will tell you that. This will be like, hey, what's your speed? There may or may not be a cop up there reading your speed. So you slow down to what the safe speed limit is, and then you continue with that driving. So that gives you peace of mind, and it could save you, depending on what the ticket is, it could save you a lot of money in the long run.
Yeah, depending on where you are, speeding fines are ridiculous in some places. So, I mean, it's nice having that kind of peace of mind, protection, and just that extra safety blanket. Now, I do want to open this up to discussion. I'm sure, a lot of you guys, if you're automotive enthusiasts out there, you run some sort of radar detector. So let us know in the comments below, what are you running? Has it saved you, in some instances before?
You don't have to tell us the incident.
Yeah, we don't want to know that you're doing 150 and a 55.
No.
But, like, what state are you in? Do people still run detectors in states that are illegal? I'm sure they do. But, it's the risk you take. It's definitely one of those very controversial, hot topic subjects. And
there's always, like, if you look at websites who are selling laser scramblers, they have a way around the law who tells you that,
just like exhaust parts, off-road only usually.
Yeah, off-road only. They say like, oh, this is a parking sensor, but it's actually a laser scrambler, and it scrambles the laser and becomes a parking sensor, and it just like does like you don't have one. But I mean, you're not, when the cop sees that, when the cop gets a wrong or error reading, they'll be like, okay, like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Is it my gun, or is it this guy?
And by the time you pass them, that's it. You know. So that's why one of those things, like if you are running one, especially in a state where it's legal, you don't really have to worry about it. Now, obviously, I'm sure the fines are huge if you run one of these in a state where it's not legal. So I wouldn't recommend that. Again, it's up to you, case by case basis.
Yeah.
Weigh your options. But yeah, there's a lot of ways that these companies that sell this borderline legal equipment have ways around it.
Yeah, internet is not a best way to get legal advice.
No, we are not lawyers. We are not advising you to go out and buy jammers and scramblers. But we're just kind of giving you our information on it. This is a very questionable topic for people with information that is not always easy to find, so to speak.
And radar detectors are not going to save you, or laser.
You're not invincible.
Yeah, they're not. Those gadgets are not going to save you from cop pacing you.
Yep.
If you get paced, and which is completely legal for them to do it, they will get you, and they will write a ticket to that because they
thought
get
of Liam Neeson. I will find you, and I will ticket you.
I will ticket you. Yeah, I mean that would happen, and I did get a speeding ticket on solely police officer pacing me. And giving me a ticket, and he did not have to use his radar. He did not have to use any laser equipment or anything like that. Just,
and I'm sure we're gonna get all the lawyers chiming. That's not legal. They can't do that.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Unfortunately, they are trained officers, so if they can do that.
So I mean, use your brains when you're out there. Really, I mean, don't speed unless. Just don't speed.
Yeah.
There's no way to justify it. But if you are in an area where there's speed traps, you're not familiar with your surroundings, you're daydreaming, you're dazed off a little bit, this will help snap you back to reality. That's my takeaway from this.
Yeah, this is more like if an officer's hiding, or if there's like speed traps where like the speed goes from 55 to 35 for no good reason, it's just solely of catching speeders.
Yep.
This is a good way to prevent yourself getting caught up on that, because this will detect the radar detector. If it's a good radar detector like mine, it will detect from like mile to 2 miles depending on the weather.
And you should beat the officer.
Yeah,
that's the whole point of it, to find them before they find you.
Yeah, and then you will be more aware of your surrounding, and you'll be looking for the speed sign, and then you're like, okay, that's 35. I better slow
Allows
down.
you to readjust your driving.
So that's it. That's all it does. It does not it does not put a invisible shield on.
You got a cloak of invisibility on your car. That's it. Go, don't change lanes without blinker. Do 10 over, whatever, you know. But yeah, so that's definitely kind of the outline of that. So if you guys have any questions, definitely let us know down below. This is one of those things where it's going to vary a lot depending on where you are and what kind of driving style you do. But any other thing you want to add to that?
No, I just love my radar detector. That's all I can tell you. And if you guys have any questions, and I am looking to upgrade it to Uniden. So I would be doing more research on that company. It's a brand new company. Well, it's not brand new, but it's a new company, and they're doing a lot of good stuff for the price of what you get from the Beltronic or the
Valentine or Passport?
Valentine, whatever.
Yeah.
Valentine is another one with the arrows and stuff.
Yeah, the big ones are like Passport, Valentine 1.
Passport it's not a brand.
It's not a brand, it's the model. Yeah, my bad.
Escort. That's the
one.
model. Yeah. That's the brand. Yeah, there's like Valentine, Escort, and Beltronic, which is Beltronic and Escort are the same companies. They use the same just cheaper packaging outside.
Rebranded. Yeah.
And then now you have the Uniden, and there's a lot of different ones that you can get, like Cobras and all that stuff. Which
do your research. I mean, this is gonna be one of those things. Look on Amazon and look up the reviews of stuff. You know, people. I mean, any automotive.
And there's
website.
a lot of videos out there that's showing the range of the radar
real life testing.
Yeah, real life testing, and they usually are pretty good. They have like curves, and they're usually like there's some obstacles and all that stuff. It gives you really good review. So do your research before purchasing it.
Because these aren't cheap if you buy a good one. So definitely have yourself armed with knowledge before you spend the $400 or $500.
And if you don't have $500, I mean, don't even go for the cheap ones. It's
gonna give you that full
just
sense
an experience.
of security. Yeah.
And it's also gonna be like the thing about that is like the filtration. Detection is different, but also filtration of the false alarms.
Oh yeah.
So the expensive ones have better filtration than the cheap ones, and thus quieter. So if it's like always, screaming at you, there's a cop, like a lying wolf, situation.
A lot of false readings from those cheap ones.
You will stop listening to it, and then there's a cop.
I remember I had an older radar detector, and signals from sliding doors, automatic doors would open. I would drive past grocery stores and my radar detector would go off because it's sensing the infrared for the doors.
I don't have that,
Exactly. So it's one of those things, cheap is not always going to be better for something like this. You're going to get false readings and it's going to be annoying because, your detector is going to be going off all the time.
But if you have a cheaper radar detector and you think it's worth the money, please say it in the comment and make your argument about it.
Always down for some bargain arguments.
Yeah, I would love to listen to you and hear what you have to say about it. And maybe there's a radar detector that's cheap but it works as good as every other radar detector out there, expensive ones. That's a good argument, That's a good thing. Yeah. Please, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel,
do it and click that bell.
Yeah, get all the notifications. We have a good channel here. We're trying to pump out as much as videos as possible.
And a lot of it is user feedback. So, tell us what you want to hear us talk about or cover, and, we'll try to do it for you.
You guys can reach us at Facebook or Instagram or even at the comments on the videos. We're ready to help you guys out. We have some other videos that users recommended. We'll be pumping those out when the weather gets nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to do it for this one. We'll catch you guys in the next video.
Kudos to all.